Thokozani bogogo nomkhulu sakaza ndoda lesi ugogo bathini mbathu mavula kuvela emzini amanye amadoda uante usha umalume gogo. There's a subscriber othi umalume wakhe was a healer, and I speak as umalume wakhe. So whenever I talk, I remind her of umalume wakhe. So and then I've decided to say angiyifake lezi ukuthi yimi umalume wenu ibongo, because even the anti usha thing, even the locksmith thing, it's not something that I thought of. It's something that you guys said I am. So now ngomalume, so 2025 we including ukuthi ugogo malume. Today we're talking boundaries. I respect how people see boundaries. I respect that. Or rather, let me say, I respect people's opinion about boundaries. Ukuthi, Gogo, what are boundaries? When I went to Upahla at 12 midnight, then I decided to say, no, let me put a poster for the next prayer, which is boundaries. And I look at the poster and I said, this poster speaks volumes to me. The design, but I'm going to talk about a specific part of the design. It is the, what is it called, palisade, if I'm not mistaken, or we can use the word fence. I didn't brief the designer. However, the designer used his own thinking, Ogoti, how boundaries should look like. Don't build a wall and call that wall a boundaries. No, don't do that. Koko, why? Because creating boundaries in you, it doesn't mean you don't want to see what is happening on the other end. I'm sorry if I'm going to be all over and maybe lose the topic as we go along. But you must remember, I speak in spirit. I don't just speak. I don't just do a video. Whenever I do a video, I've prayed for this, for example. To get to this far. On this video compared to last year. So when I speak in spirit. Boundaries. Fence. Why, Coco? I'll tell you. You need to be able again to see what is happening on the other end. You need it. You need it. Let's unpack this so that it's not boring. But all the topics I have introduced this year are that deep, and they are not the famous of them all. What because of this? No, talk about money. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about us. It starts with us. Sometimes whatever you went to fetch, you went to do, it doesn't work because you don't have boundaries. We have invited negative forces, negative spirits, negative vibes into whatever you went to fetch, whether it's Kwama Semali, Iskupu, Inyoga, Maboizi, whatever. Even if you were still in the process, because of you invited all these negative vibes, negative energies, negative whatever, it doesn't work because you don't have boundaries. Boundaries, they play a very, very important role in whatever. In whatever we went to fetch. In whatever ritual we did. The fact that you did a certain ritual doesn't mean now you need to invite every Dick, Tom and Jerry. That's why you're talking about boundaries. Many, I said this. I said, I've helped more people that I've never seen compared to people that I've seen. I helped more people that I've never seen compared to people that I've seen. What do you mean, Koko? You've been saying this all over and all over again. Koko, what do you mean? I feel to those that I've never met, there were boundaries. And it worked. It worked. There were boundaries, and it worked. However, those that I've seen, those that I've seen, those that have taken something, those that have performed a certain ritual, it's okay. But the question is, bekhona yini ama-boundaries? What are your boundaries? Where do people stop? As you meet new people in your life, where do you allow them to say, yes, welcome to my life, but this is where you need to wait so that I can assess you? Where is that? When I was doing myself, when I've started, not doing as if it's a past, no. When I started, because it's a process, self-introspection. one of the top 5 things that I've discovered, ukuthi I didn't have boundaries enough, or rather I didn't have boundaries to everybody, and which I should have. Boundaries, you need to have boundaries to every individual. That's why I'm using the term, you need to have boundaries to any Dick, Tom and Jerry. Your boundaries mustn't sit in individual. Even the one you feel which you trust. No. No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Boundaries are boundaries. Remember, boundaries, they protect you. This is you, for example. This is you. Boundaries, it's all over. Something that protects you. Boundaries are protection. And you'll never have boundaries if you've never went through self-introspection, forgiving yourself, forgiving others, forgiving someone or others. You'll never forget it. You'll never. Khohlwa. You'll never. If you don't have these 3, self-introspection, forgiving yourself, forgiving someone. If you've never done these 3, here's the 3 that I'm talking about. Angeke ukwazi ukuba nama boundaries. Never. Khohlwa. If you haven't dealt with these 3, you will never have boundaries. Because how are you going to have boundaries on people that you don't even know if you have to have boundaries on? You don't know yourself. You've never forgiven anyone. How? So, today, we're going deep on boundaries. Those that when you read comments, you must check where I responded. It doesn't mean that if I didn't respond to your comment that you are not important. No, it doesn't mean that. However, I take statements that speaks to me and I respond to it because I know you're going to see it as well. Because you also had a comment. My boundaries is manalap. You remember I said on the previous video, ukuthi, forgiving a person that never asked for forgiveness, it doesn't mean I'm inviting that person into my life. That is boundaries. I've forgiven you. However, it doesn't mean you are welcome into my life. No, it doesn't mean that. No, sorry. I have boundaries now on you. let me repeat this. I've forgiven you. However, you're still not allowed to come near me. Alright, lapho khona. You're okay. Just where you are, you're okay. I've forgiven you. You've never asked for forgiveness. I've moved on and everything. It's okay. It's okay. Let's leave it there. It's okay. Let's leave it there. So, when you forgive someone, and you need to have boundaries. I told you, Oguchi, you'll see these videos. It's a sequence. It's a sequence that we can't make it, Oguchi, to be one. Somebody might feel, Oguchi, this was supposed to be one video. No, it can't be. It's gonna be a long, boring video at the end of the day, and you end up not catching what I'm making sure, Oguchi, you catch. Boundaries are difficult, guys. Boundaries are expensive. It's one thing that you, when you do it and you realize what you've never thought what you can close this person out, but because you've done self-introspection, you've forgiven yourself, you've forgiven them, but you realize what this person doesn't deserve to be in my circle. That is, those are boundaries. Again, this might be a boring video, but I work in spirit. I work in spirit, and it's a hard one. It's a hard one. Boundaries, it's when you are not allowing anyone to predict your own life. Boundaries, it's when you are saying, Oguchi, you can come into my life, but this is where it stops. You cannot jump this line. Boundaries is a line that anyone must not jump it. Anyone must not jump it. I don't care who that person is. Your mother, is your father, is your brother, is your sister, it's your mother-in-law, whatever. No one must jump that line. Those are boundaries. Boundaries, they set up the tone of respect. People don't respect me. People don't bring back my money when I borrow them. We don't have boundaries. People that just enter into your life and go out, enter into life and go out and everything. And when you're okay with it. Why? Why? You can't be. I know Gucci, on this video I didn't really get into maybe what you were expecting. However, I'm simplifying it. Gucci, boundaries, it's where other people should stop. Those are boundaries. Boundaries is when you want to go out, you don't want to go out. When other people want to go out, you don't want to go out, and it ends there. Those are boundaries. Boundaries is when somebody asks for help, you can't help them, and it's okay with you. You can't help them, and it's fine. And it ends there. You can't help them, it's fine. Whatever they think, it's okay. Those are boundaries. Boundaries. There are many people that they've taken decisions, actions, based on allowing other people to determine what is that they must do. Boundaries. Asivaleni, because it's one topic that is very complicated in a sense. When I was planning these prayers, it's one topic. I took it out, I took it back, I took it out, I took it back, I took it out, and it was like, what is happening? Because that's what it is. Boundaries. Don't allow any Dick, Tom, and Jerry to come into your life and tell you what you need to do into your life. There are things that you are doing in your life. I have a client who's a prostitute. Her friends like, you're doing that? Oh no, disgusting. What? But they are doing that not in the name of prostitution, but in the name of ngidlamadod, imali. What's the difference? So as soon as you have done self-introspection, forgiving yourself, forgiving others, you realize, you went deeper than other people into their own space. We call people slay queens. They call themselves that as well. I deal with a lot of slay queens. But they have boundaries. Boundaries, the way I've shown it on the poster with the palisade fence, it means as much as you don't want them to come near you, but you want to see what they're doing, what they're planning. Those are boundaries. Don't be blind while you're closing someone else and you don't want to know. No, those are boundaries. Change your life, make your life better, have boundaries. people are disrespecting you because you don't have boundaries. You are not able to tell people to say, I don't like the way you speak to me. Angithandi ndlela okhuluma ngayo nami. Uhlulwa yini ukuthi? Uhlulwa yini ukuthi? Uhlulwa yini ukuthi? Boundaries. I'm still going to make another video on boundaries. Just for now, this one makes me so much emotional that I cannot really unpack it the way I should have. God, I promise you, I'm going to do another video. For now, it's a prayer for boundaries. It's a prayer ukuthi siphahla ukuthi people must not go beyond this line. Which line? It's your line. You know which line you don't feel comfortable when people cross it. You know it. It's not my line. You know it. There's one of the videos I've done years ago where somebody said, "Hey Koko, this video it's boring. You know, it's like you're talking to yourself and that's it." And somebody commented, I laughed at that video. I would never say which one. Go research. And someone commented to say, my sister, watch it at least 5 times and then come back and say the same statement. And I think the sister watched it 5 times and she came back and said, I'm sorry. Full stop. Because now she understood why it seems to be boring. Sarwa sendwa tukoko batene mbathu mavula kufule msina mamatota. These prayers are draining. Are draining. Are not easy. Are not easy. Most of the people that have destroyed our lives, has done very wrong into our lives, is because of we didn't have boundaries. So they just entered. Why do homes have fence, palisade, walls? Those are boundaries. To say in this home you cannot just go until the front door, then go. No. But let's leave it there. Tonight we're praying about boundaries. We want to have boundaries into our lives. We want to filter what are people bringing into our lives. We're fighting for that. What are people bringing into our lives? We're filtering that. Those are boundaries. We don't allow just anything to come into our lives. Those are boundaries. Sarah sendwa tukoko bathina bathu mavula kufuna emzini wamadoda. Auntie Usha, umalume gogo. Thokozani.